I'm milling about with Clayne Crawford, and he's starring in You and I. And where are you, Clayne, exactly? You look like you're outside.
Yes, I'm on my farm right now. Yes.
Oh, I want to hear all about the farm. Can you take us through? Show us the chickens and
Yeah. I mean, as you right now, the newest addition is just see how do I
there you go. Wow. Oh
come
my,
here, guys. See this guy, he's trying to create his great escape at the moment.
that's great.
Yeah,
What are their
yeah.
names? Do you name them?
The kids do. I don't name anything. It's a farm, so they all kind of come and go.
Oh, there's the prized chicken. You get fresh eggs every day, I'm sure.
We do get fresh eggs every day. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, man, it's a good little setup. We dig it.
Oh yeah, I love that you live on a farm in Alabama and you still work in Hollywood. How do you sort of make that work?
I I don't think I would have one without the other. You know, for me, there's something about manual labor. There's something about connecting to the land, the fact that it kind of provides food for us and our family, and I don't know, it makes me a better artist. There's a lot of you can't rush it, right? This kind of work, so it almost becomes meditative. So it allows me to I can let things go, character wise, or anything that may happen during a job. And then it can really allow me to kind of clean the slate so that I can take on whatever new project kind of comes my way.
I love that. I love that you have stuck to your roots the way you have. I mean, I think you even adopted your name after the town that you grew up in.
I mean, it shaped me for my first 17 years, and it's my people have been here since, the big land giveaway in 1801 or something like that, where
Wow.
they were giving away land in the state of Alabama to kind of incentivize people, kind of moving this way. So my people came from the Carolinas, and before that, Scotland. And so, yeah, it is I had great grandparents and great influences and parents in my life. And I was going out there for when, me in 96, before the internet and everything, saying you're moving to Hollywood to be an actor. I might as well have said I was going to try to build the first rocket to Mars. Everyone was just like, what? I don't even. So I wanted to just make sure that all of this that I was leaving was still a part of me. And ironically enough, I worked so hard to move away that it just became a full circle where I came back to essentially where I started.
I love it. I love it. So now in this film, you and I, you're working with Summer Shelton, who's also your director and your co-star. How tricky was that?
You know, I I appreciate when it is an art form when you're making films on this scale, right? So there's something really nice about a singular vision throughout that process. So I like as little, the least amount of kitchens I can have in a kitchen, the better. So for me, an individual like Summer who's wearing multiple hats, um, rarely do we have to run any you don't have to run anything up the chain, right, up the ladder, like you have to do on larger productions. And like with Killing Two Lovers and Joseph Chambers, those films, I was wearing all the hats, right?
Yeah.
Robert was directing the film, but I'm casting and finding locations and working out contracts and talking to agents and stuff. But nothing gets missed when you're working that way, and you don't have to kind of go back, and it doesn't become a game of telephone. It's quite short order when you're solving problems. So I was concerned with Summer as an actress just because I didn't have any way to kind of watch a performance that she'd had in the past to kind of just see where she was. but I had confidence that she had written this story from a place that was very personal to her. And I think there's something to be said when someone has something to say as an artist, that they're connected to it in a very special way.
Right.
Um, and she just had a stillness about her anyway that was kind of, she almost speaks in slow motion sometimes. She's so thoughtful about the words that she's putting together. So I felt that would translate into a performance well. And it did. I thought her work was fantastic in this film.
So raw, like really, really raw. And this is truly a two-hander. And talk about needing an intimacy coach.
You know, look,
Wow.
um, yeah, my wife won't watch the film, and it'll probably be the last romance movie I do just because it's so challenging. I prefer shooting bad guys, you know, and
I get it. I get it. I side with your wife. I get it.
it's awful. So, but Summer's so sweet and so professional. And look, if when you're dealing with, I think intimacy officers are they're valuable when you're on a set. And as I've been in these situations, I told this in an interview before where, you know, you watch these young actresses come into a scene and you see directors kind of pushing them into a place that maybe they hadn't agreed to, and dialogue like, oh, maybe we've cast the wrong actress. Maybe you don't take this seriously. Maybe you really don't want to be an actor. And it was so uncomfortable for everyone in the room. I can't imagine the young ladies that had to endure some of those conversations. So I think the value of the intimacy officer is she's essentially like he or she. I've only worked with female, but he or she is essentially like a stunt coordinator in that the director almost takes a back seat and the director is more watching and they're kind of the go-between. So it's quite nice to have that individual say, okay, what's the scene? And then he or she has the opportunity to speak to the actress. And I'm sure actors have felt uncomfortable as well. But again, in my experience, I've seen actresses be in really tough situations. It allows them to kind of have that conversation of, hey, this isn't comfortable, you know, on a sidebar, and then that individual can go to the director as opposed to putting that actress or actor into that difficult conversation with someone who's kind of their boss in a sense. But for Summer and I, we just sat down with the DP and we all had a conversation of these scenes are better when less is more as it relates to what's being seen. And we just kind of almost structured it similar to a fighting sequence. Like, let's just what do we have to do to sell this punch, right? And what do we need to what angle? Where does my hand need to be? Where's the camera going to be in relation to that? And let's make a list of the shots we need, and let's just check them off one by one, and let's all get out of this uncomfortable moment as quickly as possible.
So there's never like a slip of the tongue, if you will, without discussing it first.
I mean, look, a lot of people will tell you that goodness, Robin. I guess in my younger days, before I was married with children and had a daughter and a granddaughter, maybe it was like, oh, let's see what happens, you know, especially if the actress was like, let's see what happens. But holy cow, you know, it's a
Can
room
I
full of
get
people.
away with this?
I don't think it's that. It's more of like it's not what it appears, right? You're talking about you're in this room with all the lights are essentially on you, and you've got to even if it's a closed set, there's 6 or 7 people in there. So it's so beyond uncomfortable. Intimacy is almost the last thing that you ever feel in those moments. If that makes sense, at least in my experience, it's super uncomfortable. So I'm never feeling frisky by any stretch.
So I think you prefer going back to action and that sort of thing.
Um, it's easier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems
And,
so. Yeah, and you don't have to
and
piss off your wife, and you could.
oh, and I didn't want to misconstrue. She definitely doesn't get mad. She's just like, that's the last thing I want to watch, you know? But I clearly, we had the discussion before I went to make the film. I'm like, there's a great story here. And I think she's, you know, but X, Y, and Z, this is what's going to happen, right? And she's always really supportive of the art and me as an actor. But it's not like I can tell my mom to go watch this movie. Right? And my mom's already going, I can't. I'm like, well, Mama, no, I'm not inviting you to any of the screenings. You're gonna have to do that on your own if you want to watch that. So
Right, your mom's like a real Southern woman, I have a feeling.
you bet.
So you also have kids, and one of them is even an actor. So what will you do when he has scenes like this?
Look, for the record, none of my kids are actors. I have forced them into acting roles, uh, just from a logistics standpoint. And we were shooting during COVID during a couple of my films, so it was just much easier to stick them in there, and explain to them they'll put a little bit of money in their pocket. But I don't know if any of them really dig it. So uh, my youngest, he keeps saying that he wants to, but I'm not sure if he realizes the struggle. I think the other two are well aware of the challenges and the ups and downs that comes with this career, and I think he just sees the all the excitement of it. Right? I don't know if he sees the marathon aspect of it.
Yeah, so like for you, when you look back on those lean times, like what comes to mind and what are you most proud of?
I don't know if I'm proud of anything. And I don't know if there were ever. I always felt rich. I always felt full. I mean, there were times when you want to kind of quit because you're just tired of being so broke. But it's funny how memory, you don't look back on those hard times or those challenging times with anything but gratitude. And you always think about, again, how rich you felt, right? When I had money to go to Katsuya, because I'd get a residual in, or, we could go to a baseball game, go watch a Dodger game. I don't know. I think at my age, when I'm 46 and I've been doing it since I was 17, 18, I truly kind of understand the marathon aspect of it. And I think I've just kind of found a way to really enjoy each moment. So to look back and reflect on all of it, I'm just grateful I stuck with it. I don't know how proud I am, but I'm glad that, and I'm grateful I had my mom and my grandma who kept saying, don't give up, right? They were always my biggest cheerleaders. And my wife now, when I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna be a farmer. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm tired of acting. I'm just gonna produce my little movies, and she's like, get real. So it's yeah, I've got good people around me, so I'm grateful for that.
So give me a typical day in the life of a farmer, Clayne. What's that like?
Well, I don't want to disrespect the hardworking farmers of this country, that are out there by any stretch. I am a hobby farmer. So my cows are all named. Uh, the chickens do give us eggs, but everything else is just more almost from aesthetics and love, right? But, you know, we, again, that's the beauty of this life. I feel so fortunate, because we kind of, we homeschool the kids, so we all kind of wake up, around 8, and everything gets fed early, and you know, it's not, I think in the summertime it's a lot of hard work. I'm almost like a landscaper. I feel like I cut grass and weed eat, more of like maintaining the property. That's a ton of hard work. But as far as the animals, it's just joyful, right? I love being around all of them, and so yeah, it's just feeding and loving and trying to create an environment where everyone feels safe and free. And I think when they do, we do. And yeah, I sound like my hippie uncle.
It's interesting because there are a few actors that come to mind that have farms, like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Kevin Bacon. He's got, I don't know if you've ever seen his videos. He sings with his goats. It's hysterical. So I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I think again, I mean, there's an old saying, and you'd have to look it up. It's Middle Eastern, but it's something else like, to be a great actor, you have to learn the lines. To be a great actor, you have to learn the lines and know your mark. To be a great actor, you have to learn your lines, know the mark, know the scene. And it goes down. But then the last thing is, to be a great actor, you need to be a farmer. So I don't know if there's value, again, in having your hands in the dirt. Um, it allows us to work really hard. And if you're an actor and you live in Los Angeles or New York, you're just waiting for the phone to ring,
Yeah,
and then you go do a job and you're pretending to be someone else and pretending to know how to do shit that you don't really know how to do. When you're here, I personally feel very satisfied as a human because of the labor intensive work. I feel very, I feel I have value when a tree falls. I cut that tree up, I split it, and then I put that firewood in my barn. To me, that gives me a feeling that acting doesn't give me. And I think it helps me stay connected to just being a person. If all I did was navigate a cell phone and look at videos all day, I just don't think I'd be very valuable as an actor. I play a lot
true.
of blue collar guys. So for me, I really love working with my hands every day and learning how to do new things and how to fix things on my property so that I'm not reliant on the plumber or an electrician or whatever it may be. I'm trying to learn these trades that I thought were so below me when I was a teenager and in my 20s when my family members would try to teach me these things. I'm now, again, see the value in feeling like, again, a valuable human to not only my community, but to my family. And then I guess that allows me to kind of do the silliness that is Hollywood, which sometimes kind of gets to you. And you feel like, what am I doing? Right. And I think that's why so many actors want to give their opinion on politics because maybe I don't know.
We won't go there.
I'm not going there. So there's nobody's worried about anything on this property. You know what I mean? We're all just trying to do the best we can here. And that's what I prefer.
Absolutely. So, are you going to direct at some point be behind the camera?
Yes. I'm just trying to find the right thing.
Hmm.
I just want it to be right. I may only get one shot at it. I've directed little things and episodes of television, but I, uh, I want it to be right. So we're certainly working on it I'm writing. Um, but it's not something I'm rushing.
Right, right.
Hmm.
You should do a film about a working actor on a working farm.
Just go meta with the whole thing.
Exactly. I would pay money to see that. Screw
Fair
Wicked.
enough. There you go.
Well, listen, have a lovely Thanksgiving and thank you so much. It was great to see you.
It's so great seeing you, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about this film. And you as well. Enjoy the holidays and have a great New Year.
You too. Take good care.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Always news. Always refreshing. Always candid. Always milling about. Robin Milling delivers what celebrities are saying to you.